Hey everybody, it's Troy. Hey, listen, just when you thought the MAGA fascists couldn't get any lower, they somehow managed to find a way to keep digging. This is Jamie Mitchell, the founder of a anti-trans hate organization called Gays Against Groomers, which ostensibly is a LGBTQ organization that labels trans people as sexualizing children, as groomers. This is her on Tucker Carlson's show, essentially blaming the recent shooting at Club Q, a gay nightclub where 5 people died and 25 people were wounded. This blatant terrorist attack on the LGBTQ community. This is her on Tucker Carlson blaming that attack on LGBTQ people. Check this out.
Shouldn't have to be said, but what is anti-LGBTQ that these people need to understand, and what is putting our community in great danger is, claiming that all of us support this and just associating all of us with this. Saying that groomer is an anti-LGBTQ slur, that is doing irreparable damage to us as a whole, and is putting a really large target on our backs. And unfortunately, the tragedy that happened in Colorado Springs the other night, it was expected and predictable. We all, within Gays Against Groomers, saw this coming from a mile away. Yeah. And sadly, I don't think it's going to stop until we end this evil agenda that is attacking children.
Gays Against Groomers is a hate group. They've started to get kicked off of social media. They were kicked off of Google. If you go to their website, they sell anti-trans merch, including a mug that says OK Groomer. OK Groomer is now being recognized as basically a hate slur, anti-LGBTQ hate slur. This group is dangerous. They are encouraging terrorism and violence against the LGBTQ community. But this appearance on Tucker Carlson is just absolutely shocking. It's been making the waves on Twitter. People blown away by how awful and grotesque this segment was. And the chyron at the bottom saying, "Note to liberals, just leave our kids alone." It's almost like, what was the note? The shooting was the note to liberals to leave kids alone? Is that what these people are saying? That this shooting is somehow justified, that it's a wake-up call to against the anti-trans community, to tell liberals to stop supporting the trans community, to stop supporting the LGBTQ plus community, as if the shooting was justified in some way, and that these shootings are going to keep happening as long as we keep supporting these communities, as long as we continue to be a tolerant society and understanding that these people are human beings who deserve basic human rights. Somehow LGBTQ people just existing makes them at fault for the mass shootings that are targeting them, for the terrorism that is targeting them. This is absolutely horrifying. It's just indicative of the soullessness on the right, the violence on the right. These people are domestic terrorists. Let's not dance around this anymore. These people, they are supporting domestic terrorism. They are sympathetic to domestic terrorism. They took to Twitter, they took to social media in the hours and days following the shooting at Club Q to continue their anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, to continue these lies about the LGBTQ community being groomers, grooming children for sexualization, labeling LGBTQ people and trans people as pedophiles.
And this is the reason the left cares so much about this, and they defend it so vigorously. Because according to the left, think about this. According to the left, the drag queen child combination has become dangerous. They say it's a lightning rod for violent backlash, right? That's what they say. And it's greatly exaggerated, of course. Mostly it's invented out of whole cloth, actually. But even by their version of events, if it's causing this much chaos and violence, why do you insist on continuing to do it? If according to you, it's like putting people's lives at risk, if the effort to have men cross-dress in front of children is putting people's lives at risk, why are you still doing it? Is it that important to you? Now, as always, they try to flip the burden around on us. They demand that we explain why we object to children being exposed to drag queens, and we can explain it, and we have, and we will continue to, because it's very easy to explain. Drag is inherently sexual and ideological. It is burlesque, and it's not appropriate to bring your child to a burlesque show. You disgusting freaks.
This is the QAnon conspiracy. I mean, this is where this originated, was this QAnon conspiracy. It used to be a far-right wackadoo thing that nobody took seriously. Conservatism, the MAGA fascist conservatives in America have mainstreamed the Q conspiracy. I mean, it's all they talk about. It's all Ben Shapiro talks about. It's all Tucker Carlson talks about. They believe that the biggest threat to this country right now is the perceived grooming of children for sexualization. That's the Q conspiracy. It's become mainstream now in the Republican Party. This is a Republican Party that has braced far-right conspiracy theories, embraced fascism, and now they're embracing domestic terrorism. This is a horrifying segment. And let's be clear, this is only calling for more violence. Language like this a segment on Tucker Carlson from the so-called Gays Against Groomers organization, this is just a call for more shootings, a call for violence. This is saying that if these people continue to exist in our society, they will continue to be attacked. And so they need to go underground. They need to stop existing in our society because they're causing the violence against them. This is historically been the rhetoric that's used to justify violence against marginalized groups, that they somehow caused it, that they were at fault, that it wasn't the fault of the people carrying out the terrorist action. It was the fault of the people that were attacked. This is disgusting, horrifying hate speech. We need to call it out as such. We need to call these people out for who they are. They're violent fascists, terrorists. The rhetoric on the right against the LGBTQ community has continued even after the shooting. In some ways, they even ramped it up. These people are not stopping. They're continuing to push this dangerous rhetoric. This is a society that is, there's too many guns. We have too many guns and too many people that should not have access to those guns. And the more these people spread this lie that LGBTQ people are pedophiles, we've told them to stop. We've told them that it was going to cause violence, that sooner or later somebody was going to act out because they believed those lies. They believed that conspiracy and they were armed, and it happened. And now they are continuing to spread that lie and use this grotesque language, continuing to attack the LGBTQ community, even in the hours and days following this brutal attack, this domestic terrorist attack on the LGBTQ community. They won't stop. Rather than heed those calls to tone down the rhetoric, to tone down the violent speech, to tone down the conspiracies and the lies, they've ramped it up. And not only have they ramped it up, they've started to gaslight people on the left and Democrats and liberals who have called them out for this language. They've tried to gaslight us and tell us that we're the ones in the wrong for blaming them when these things happen. They're saying that that is inappropriate. The politicization of these shootings is what's inappropriate. No, what's inappropriate is the violent language they're using to stir up their violent base, to do horrible things like this, to commit these acts of violence. If after a mass shooting terrorist attack happens, you feel the need to come onto Twitter to defend yourself, you should probably be internalizing that and wondering why that is. The rest of us are not feeling the need to defend our speech after a mass shooting happens. It's they who have to defend their speech after a mass shooting happens because they know that they're in many ways culpable, that they have blood on their hands. This Tucker Carlson appearance has somewhat shoved this Gays Against Groomers group into the limelight. We now know who they are. Anti-hate groups are going to be keeping an eye on these folks because this is purely a terrorist hate group organization, anti-trans hate group. We'd be keeping an eye on them and making sure that they do not make any more inroads into social media, that they are not able to spread their vile, hate-filled message, which is only going to cause more violence. For MeidasTouch, this is Troy. Remember, smash that subscribe button to keep supporting independent media.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs, It Wasn't Rigged, You're Just a Loser, at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.